We have an incredible video today. I have been anticipating this day for a long time. Do you remember that research paper that I reviewed a few months ago out of Stanford and Google that showed how to set up a simulation with 25 autonomous agents and they started displaying human-like behavior? Well, just a few days ago, the actual code for that has been released, and now you can set up your own simulations. In that video, I talked about how this can be used to give NPCs actual lives in video games, and there's a ton of other use cases. I read that paper about 24 times, and I'm so excited to share the actual code for you. So for today, I'm going to show you how to install it, then I'm going to show you how to use it. Let's go. And check this out. This is the actual simulation running right now. So I can scroll around and I can set a simulation up in any way that I want. And this runs locally, but it does use ChatGPT, so there is a cost associated with it. I'm sure soon enough that we're going to be able to use local large language models to power this, but for now, we're going to have to use ChatGPT. So before diving into the installation, I just want to show you briefly why I read this almost 24 times and why I'm so excited about this software. Here's the paper, and I'm also going to link my video review of this paper down below in the description, so be sure to check that out after this video. So some of the most amazing findings from this paper are that these autonomous agents, fully AI agents, started displaying human-like behavior with just a little prompting and ChatGPT powering it. They would make plans, they would start to form habits, they would build friendships, relationships, and they would go about their day just like any human would. So here's an example. They have a morning routine: wake up, brush teeth, take shower, cook breakfast, then they catch up with their friends, they do some packing, they begin the workday. All of these things are happening with AI simulation. And they have memories. So as they go around the world, as they perceive the world, they will actually record their memories and they'll reflect on those memories, and that'll help them build their personality. So for example, if for whatever reason they were bit by a dog one day, maybe they record that memory and now they're afraid of dogs going forward. And one of the coolest examples from the paper is one agent decided to plan a birthday party, told another agent, and that agent told their friends about it, and they coordinated to show up to the party at the same time. Truly incredible. Now, enough with this. You can check out the full review in my video, but for now, let's get into the install. So you're going to need a few things for this. One, you're going to need Anaconda as usual. You're also going to need an OpenAI API key. And of course, it does get pretty costly pretty quickly, so you have to keep an eye on that, and I'll show you a couple ways to do that. So first, open up the terminal with Anaconda. And the first thing we're going to do is download the repository. So git clone and then the repo link, which I'll have down below in the description. And it's actually a pretty big repo in terms of just the file sizes, so it does take a minute or two to download. All right, there, it's done. Next, we're gonna cd into that new folder. So cd generative_agents, and now we're in the folder. The next thing we need to do is open up Visual Studio Code. So now I have Visual Studio Code open. I'm gonna come up to the top left, hit File, Open Folder. I'm gonna find the folder that I just cloned and select Folder, and that's gonna open it up here. Next, on the left side, you're gonna find the Reverie folder. Drop that down. Then you're going to look for the backend server folder, drop that down, and then we're going to create a new file called utils.py. So right click on the folder, new file, and we'll type utils.py, then hit enter. And then we have the new file open. Then we're going to copy in all these settings. You can find this little code snippet on the GitHub page, but I'll also include it in the public gist that I'm going to create, along with all of the steps that I go over today. So the first thing we're going to need is the OpenAI API key. So open up your browser, go to openai.com, and then find the API keys section. From there, we're going to click create new secret key, and we're going to type gen agents and then hit enter. And then we have this key right here, so we're going to click copy. Keep in mind, I'm going to revoke this key before publishing this video. Then we switch back to Visual Studio Code, and right here on line 2, we're going to paste in our new API key. And we do need the quotations here. And then for the key owner, you just put your name, and then we're going to save. Then head back to your terminal, and we're going to run this command to create a new Conda environment. Conda create -n gen agents Python equals 3.11.4, and then we're going to proceed. And then the next thing we need to do is copy this command right here to activate our new environment. So I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it in, conda activate gen agents, enter. And now we know it's activated because it says so right there. So I ran into a few bugs while installing this, so I'm going to show you how to fix it. One of the bugs that I ran into was trying to install the module Pillow, and it was using an older version, and I kept having issues with it. So the fix is to update Pillow to a more recent version, and let me show you how. Switch back to Visual Studio Code, and on the left side, find requirements.txt and go ahead and click it. Then search for Pillow. Right now it's on line 36 and the version is 8.4.0, and we're going to switch that to 9.5.0 and then go ahead and click Save. Now, keep in mind, some of these workarounds and fixes that I'm putting in place might not be applicable by the time you see this video. So if you already see an updated version of Pillow in that requirements.txt file, no need to change it. Next, we're going to install the requirements.txt. So python-m pip install-r requirements.txt. All right, there, it's done. Now with this project, there's a backend server and a front-end server, and we're gonna need to run both on the same machine. Let me show you. So first, we're gonna cd into environment/frontend_server. Then we run python manage.py run server, and this is gonna spin up the front-end server. Next, pull up your browser and go to your local host. So 1.7.0.0.1:8000. And you should see this in the top left. Your environment server is up and running. And you can close that out, but don't close the console. And you can find the URL right here if you need it. Next, you're gonna open up a new console, again, while keeping the other one up and running. And now we need to navigate back to the Generative Agents folder. So we type cd Generative Agents, hit enter, and we're there again. And we need to activate the Conda environment on this terminal. Conda activate gen agents. Next, we're going to spin up the backend server now. So we're going to cd reverie/backend_server. Now, here's another bug that I ran into, and I bet this is going to be fixed pretty soon because there's already an issue on the GitHub repo. But for now, we have to fix it. So open up Visual Studio Code again, and under the Reverie folder within the backend server folder, you're gonna look for the reverie.py file. Scroll all the way down to line 400, and right before the line 400, enter a new line. And we're gonna add these 4 lines of code. So the problem was that if the movements folder wasn't already created, it would basically just fail. And now it checks if it's created, and if not, it creates one. So these highlighted 4 lines is what we just added. Then we go ahead and click Save, switch back to the terminal, and now we're gonna run the front end server. So we type python reverie.py and hit enter. So the first question you're going to be asked is enter the name of the forked simulation. And that basically means the simulation that we're going to be basing our simulation on. And right now it gives you a template. And of course you can edit the template any which way you like. You can add more agents. You can give them different starting prompts. You can give them different starting locations, everything you can modify by modifying the code. And I'll show you that in a minute. But for now, we're going to use the existing template. And so to do a 3-agent simulation, we're going to start with this template. Base, the, Vil, Isabella, Maria, Klaus. And all of that is separated by underscores. And then we hit enter. And now we're going to enter the name of the new simulation, our simulation. So I'm just going to call it test and then hit enter. Now this next option is critical. What we're going to do is type the command run and then the number of steps we want to run. Now, please be careful at this step. If you enter a really large number, your API bill from OpenAI is going to be very high. So when I ran this, when I did 3 steps, it cost a couple dollars. So if you can imagine, if you ran it with 20, 50, 100 steps, it would be quite expensive. And honestly, 3 is nothing. I believe each step is only 10 minutes of simulation time. So if you really want a full simulation over a day, it's going to be quite costly. That's why I'm really excited and looking forward to when they actually allow you to use local large language models to power this. I'm going to switch it to 1 step just so you can see it in action. And then you just hit enter. And here we go. It loads up their initial prompts. It starts generating their plans, their routines. Here's the output. You can literally see it happening in real time. And if I switch back over to the browser, we can actually see it running in real time. So I've actually had a little bit of trouble seeing it run in real time, but this is where it would happen. And I'll replay it for you afterwards to show you that that does work. But here's where you would do it. So you go to localhost:8000/simulator_home. And I think they're going to put out a bug fix so you can actually see it happening. But there's one of my characters right there. And if I switch back to terminal, you can actually see all of the outputs in real time. So Klaus is visiting the university library and working on a research paper, watching TV, having dinner, finishing up. So it's running a full simulation for those 3 agents. Absolutely incredible. And there it's finished. So there we can run it again if we want, but we're not going to do that. Switching back to Visual Studio Code, I'm going to show you where everything gets saved now. So if we go to the environment folder on the left, click that, and then under storage, this is where we're going to see all of our saved simulations. So at the very bottom, I see test right there. And within test, we have the environment, the movement, the personas, and Reverie. Now, you can also see it comes with a bunch of existing simulations that have been pre-run. And so I'm going to show you how to replay one of those because it actually has data in them versus mine, which is was really only one step. So now I went back to the Generative Agents GitHub repo, and about halfway down, step 4, it talks about replaying the simulation. And so here's an example of what the URL looks like to replay any simulation. So you go localhost 8000 /replay/ then the simulation name, and in our example, it would be test, and then the starting time step. So you can usually just start with 0. But again, because mine is only one step, it's about 10 minutes and it's not very interesting. But they actually provide you with an example of a much longer simulation, which you can find right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And now here it is. You can see the times going. We can see what each of the characters in the simulation is doing, and we can scroll around and watch them over time. And if you scroll down and you click on one of them, it'll take you directly to that character. So there's one of my characters right there, Isabella Rodriguez, who is sleeping. Now again, it's a little bit buggy still. It just came out, and I know a lot of people are working on fixes for this. There's a ton of open issues that address a lot of the different issues that you're seeing. But it's pretty much there, and you can use it and you can create your own simulations. You can give these generative agents entire backstories, allow them to interact with each other, form relationships. It's super exciting to see. I can't wait to hear what you all are gonna do with it. And now, what if you wanna customize everything? Let me show you how to do that. So here we are back at Visual Studio Code. On the left side under storage, we're going to click that, and there's a couple ways to do it. I think the easiest way would be to come and just start modifying the files in this folder. So this is the fourth simulation that we just used. So if we go ahead and click in, we have personas, and you can click into one of their personas, go to scratch.json, and now we can see a bunch of information about them. Now, I haven't played around much with this, so you're going to have to explore this and see what works, but you can start looking at it, and you can see that they have innate personality traits, they have learned parts of their personality, they have what they're currently doing, they have their lifestyle, their living area, and if we go into spatial memory, this is actually what each of those characters has seen in their world so far. So you can add stuff, you can remove stuff, and yeah, so go in here, play around with this, and see what works best for you. And if you want to create your own, you would just copy this so you just have at least a template to work off of, and then you can start playing around with it. Be sure to check out my video review of the research paper. I really break it down in simple terms about how truly exciting this is and what this means for specifically video games and the future of video games. If you liked this video, please consider giving me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.